Hello, Tide fans. Welcome to Tide Talk. I'm your host, Sean Taylor. I am here with my same two guys, Maurice, Jimmy. Guys, we talked about the game, and it was exactly what we expected. New Mexico State thought we'd win big. We did. Had some good things to see from that. Will it continue? Next two games will be the telltale sign. A lot of expectation. We'll go into the game a little bit. I was very pleased with defensive performance yet again. It's been really good lectly. I know we had some concerns early.
All right.
Maurice, by the way.
Yes.
I like the...
Oh, yeah, this is a lectern. And I'm not saying to everybody, but for some people on this show, I have to lecture to them. So I figure...
Who's he talking about, Jimmy?
Might as well have the tools that I need to carry on my duties as needed. You're welcome. Thank you.
Understood.
Proceed.
As I was saying, look, I was very pleased with the defense. We've been seeing the defense pick up a little bit more and more lately. Still some things we got to clean up. You know, even Saban says happy with the performance, not going to, got into that whole thing about not going to criticize any of the coaches, the players, or what have you. I think there was some argumentative conversation in the post game with Saban and the press conference afterwards. However, two games that we're about to play, totally different opponents. New Mexico State, at one point we're down 3-0, and everybody's thinking, kind of laughing about that.
6 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, everybody's kind of laughing about that just because we came out and had to punt, and man, it's New Mexico State, and they're one of the worst FBS schools. At the end of the day, we came out and showed, what we were supposed to. 59-3, covered the spread. Did you have anything that you didn't like about the game Saturday, Maurice? I mean, again, it's tough to really say that against New Mexico State, but...
Well, we ordered wings and we didn't order enough. That's about the only thing I had bad. The one thing that I don't like about these games, and I'll say it, and I don't think Saban or anybody else really cares for it, what's the purpose? Outside, Coach Saban can say, they don't overlook an opponent and yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, that you're going to trounce somebody like this. There's not a lot that you can get out of it.
Lot to lose from it.
There's a lot to lose from it.
And
we did.
But I don't have a problem with that. I hate that Roy Dale Williams and JoJo got hurt. Part of the game. Play it, would you rather sit out or get to play in a game like that?
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you be saying that if it were Bryce Young?
Are you asking me that because I have this sweet lectern?
I'm asking you that because it was
Bryce Young? I don't care. You play, you put on your cleats to play the game. Y'all two play softball. What if it's somebody that's a candy team that you're going to drill? You're going to play? You're going to show up? Yeah, you want to play.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree.
Especially at Jimmy's age, he needs to get all the games in that he can.
I don't disagree. You got to play the game. It can happen in any game. Unfortunately for us, the one position specifically, the running back position, we're already starting to become more and more thin, obviously, because we moved a couple of linebackers to that position.
Linebacker and receiver, by the way.
And a possible quarterback. Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I would be thinking differently about it if it were Bryce Young, if it were B-Rob.
Okay, since we're talking about quarterbacks, remember when Brody Croyle got hurt? He was just running out of bounds and tore his ACL. It can happen anytime, anywhere.
That's right.
So you play the game.
And listen, it is part of the game. It was, it was unfortunate for JoJo Earle and for Roy Dale Williams. I just hate to see it with 2 games left and the critical.
Well, I'm not so much upset that it happened. It's as far as against New Mexico State, but the fact that it did happen, regardless of when it did. I mean, we have 2 running backs.
So what do you want them to go? No running backs?
We have 2 running backs now, and we have 4 running backs. 2 of those running backs, one is a linebacker and one is a receiver that's been moved to the running back
converted
group.
To that.
So the last position group we needed to get another injury from is the running back group. So now we got to deal with that. with these, with the 2 regular season games left. So that's what I'm upset about. Not so much that it happened, like you said, it could have happened the week before, it could happen this week, but it happened, and now we got to deal with it.
What about listen, I've said it a couple of times, get right into some of the individual play. Man, I really like to see the third string quarterback, Milroe, play a little bit more.
Oh, he's exciting. I mean, he is, put it this way, we sat around and waited to make sure we saw him in at least one series. And when you watch him play, he's that exciting as far as claims to be who's the fastest on the team between he and Jameson Williams. But what?
I was just saying, they say the Leary kid is a 10.5, 100 guy and is considered one of the fastest on the team. So I didn't know that. I read that.
The one that came in, number 37 or whatever it was.
I think he's number 12.
Oh, he's
Leary.
number 12. Okay, yeah.
He's a 10.5, 100 guy.
Well, put him on kickoff returns because that's the only time he can run 100. So, just doing the math here. Thank you. So I don't have a problem. It's going to happen throughout the season. Every season. You hope it doesn't. As a matter of fact, we hope that with the new strength and conditioning coaches, we wouldn't have these type of issues. But again, ACLs, you never know. I don't know. Maybe you have a little bit of detail of what happened to JoJo as far as what his injury is.
Man, I didn't know he was hurt, honestly.
I knew it went down awkwardly. There was nothing weird about it, just the amount of weight that was on it and how, it just takes a little bit. So when they were testing his knee, I was like, this could be bad. Thankfully.
But that's a group, though, that we've got. We've got them lined up out the door, waiting for their turn to play as far as a wide receiver.
Well, I wish one of them would show up.
Exactly.
And I'll tell
I'm not saying they're ready to play, but the talent is there. We have no running backs now.
Well, I'm happy with Slade Bolden. I'm happy with his performance in the punt return game.
Yeah. There's somebody else you can move to running back.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Listen, as well as the third string quarterback played, wouldn't mind seeing him there. But I'm going to tell you, not just his running. I don't know if you guys saw late, he threw a few passes. There was one pass that he threw specifically. It was from the other hash to the across the field to the sideline, and it was a dart.
I got no doubt that he could probably chunk it.
It was a dart, and I've not seen that prior to this game, and I was really impressed with the kid's arm strength.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. That's a difficult throw. Hash to sideline, and he threw it on a string.
Now you're going to find out as he gets better in practice, and obviously you can see the difference between first game of the year till now. He's gotten a lot more comfortable with the offense, and you can tell by the play calling. If you go back and look early on, they were only giving him running plays. Now he's getting to chunk it a little bit.
Yeah, his first few plays were pass attempts, and he ended up having to break down and run. Yeah. But they were pass attempts, and I was glad to see that, because a lot of times we talk, in the years past, when it's mop-up duty, it's just hand the ball off, hand the ball off, hand the ball off. Well, what happens when they have to be in the game? Can they run the offense?
Right.
And we were seeing them do some stuff.
Right. Well, but no knock on the kid, obviously. He just needs to wait his turn.
That's right.
I hope we're not having this conversation because we've lost a quarterback or two.
Right.
Because otherwise, he don't need to be in there. So.
Well, I don't know about waiting his turn. He can still beat him out, just like Tua beat out Jalen. There's nothing wrong with that. And
competition breeds excellence.
Exactly. So I see no problem with him competing to get some playing time. We say this, and this is kind of true a couple of years ago, but Bryce Young is still the leading odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. And we're like, hey, what about the other kid? Can he get in there and play some? Meanwhile, he went what? Bryce went 21 for 23, broke his own record.
Right. 5 touchdown passes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Over 300 yards.
And
right at
13
yards.
straight, 13 consecutive.
Yeah. It's
13 consecutive. So, again, game we expected, but what's coming up is extremely important. We'll talk about that in just a second. We're going to take a quick break. On behalf of Bob English and State Farm, hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
Yeah, Bob.
Enjoy the good times a little more with the right plan. As your State Farm agent, I am here to help you protect your dreams and loved ones with life insurance. With over 60 years combined State Farm experience, call me or any of my team to find out which options are best for you. Another way we're here to help life go right.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. You know, we were talking right there at the break, Jimmy, about Heisman potentials and who's the favorite and et cetera. You know, we know Bryce Young's probably still in the hunt, if you will, as the favorite. But, you know, Anderson's getting a little love finally.
Anderson's
and I think
national love,
very well deserved. I was watching the Georgia game, and I do agree with you, by the way. I do believe we can play with Georgia. I'm not saying we're going to go and beat them, but I believe we can play with them.
One of us says that.
Don't we still have 2 games to play before we get there?
Yes, yes.
If we can get there.
But I'm just saying, theoretically speaking, I believe from a matchup perspective, we can play with Georgia.
He's an Alabama fan.
That's what I was saying. Yes, he's supposed to be. But Anderson's getting some love and very well deserved. I mean, again, watching the Georgia game, some of the guys on their team, great defense, man, they've got a really good defense, but he is like heads and shoulders above everyone with respect to tackles for loss, like double digits above everybody on our team and in the SEC.
In the country. I mean, I mentioned that last week during our stats, and I've got a few other things to talk about there in the next section. So yeah, I mean, he's obviously been playing like this all year. We've seen it. Now the national media and people across the country are seeing it. So
yeah, I mean,
good to see.
As we've said before, when you're in the conversation with Derek Thomas, you know you got to be doing something right. But man, I'm looking at he's potentially going to, you know, break some records. The Joker's just a sophomore. But defensively, I mean, really happy to see the defense play a little bit better. Christian Harris, in my opinion, guys, and you tell me if I'm wrong, in the past few games has really started to kind of come into his own. And I also believe, and my brother's going to have a fit when I say this, you know, number 10, Toa, if that's how you pronounce his name.
Toa.
Either one. Has done an outstanding job, in my opinion.
He's done all right, but I agree with some of the comments that we've made during text, is that sometimes, to use an old analogy, he doesn't want to get his nose in there. Now, I agree with you on Harris. He looks to be moving a lot faster.
I mean, comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Running to the ball.
But I still contend that they're lining him up in the wrong position, pre-snap and on blitzes a lot of times, because he doesn't give him the chance to actually read and react. Now, I think once you get him in open field and where he can see, you don't have a chance as a ball carrier. I think he's that good.
Yeah.
But it's just he needs to be in those positions. And maybe Golding is changing it up a little bit, because he did look a lot more comfortable. But, you know, like you said, we'll see this week, starting this week, against Arkansas.
Yes.
But do you think it starts, though, across the line of scrimmage? Because I know those guys up front are playing a lot better as well. So
I agree with you.
I'm thinking that maybe that's the reason why our linebacker play is getting a little better.
I don't know.
Just a thought.
Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner is a future stud.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, and I'm going to say this. I was just bad-mouthing this guy a week or so ago. Malachi Moore played a really good football game Saturday.
Played better, but...
Better, yeah.
Played a good football game. I mean, you know, again, it's New Mexico State. And I don't want to diminish them as an opponent.
Yeah, but that quarterback is not the next Peyton Manning.
He appeared to be in position more. He appered to tackle better.
Yeah.
I mean, some tackles that he made in the open field, regardless, New Mexico State or not. I mean, they're against guys that are 4, 5, you know.
Well, we're going to find out this week, though, because Arkansas is a physical team. You know, big offensive line, big quarterback. They're going to try to establish
big wide
the run.
receiver in Burks.
They're going to try to establish the run.
That's a bad man.
So we're about to find out just how much better across the board we have gotten over the last couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, we're coming out as a 20. We came out as a 22, but it's now at 20.
Right.
I was reading the article today about bet Alabama and minus the points. I'm not a betting guy, but that's what I was reading, and they were talking about the matchups and why we would win and cover. What are your thoughts, Maurice, as far as Arkansas at Tuscaloosa.
Arkansas last year, it was a close game until Devontae broke out. They have played us pretty good over the course of Saban's career, as far as good as anybody out there. I do like Sam Pittman as head coach. I like their quarterback. He's a phenomenal athlete. I wouldn't say a great quarterback, but Burks.
He's a stud.
He is a bad man.
He's a stud.
And you better bring everything. You better have special coverages on this guy. He can go up and get it. He's got strong hands, strong upper body.
Physical.
Very physical. He's without a doubt, in my opinion, their best offensive player now. Just they got to get the ball to him. So do I think that we can contain him? Yeah. And as far as our, y'all were talking about the lines looking better. I'm not completely sold yet that they've improved enough at, where we're getting into Arkansas, Auburn, and then all we got to do is win, and then win one of those games, and we're playing Georgia. So, in the past, our line, both offensive and defensive, have been the
staple.
Yeah. It's
agreed.
And I'm not there yet. So
well, I'm definitely not there on the opposite side of the ball. I mean, we still got some injuries. If you notice this past week, we had a couple of guys that were still out.
Started the Brown kid at left guard in place of Javion Cohen.
So again, that kind of concerns me moving forward. This late in the season, having a piece in, shift and shuffle around the offensive line, because I haven't been sold on them all year anyway. So I'm going to be more curious to see how effective we are on that side of the ball. I think the defense is going to be fine.
That's one thing Pittman tries, former offensive line coach, that's what he prides his team on, is being up front.
Being physical, owning the line of scrimmage.
So they're going to get tested on both sides. So we'll see.
I think that the opportunity to clinch the West has an impact. We get a chance to go ahead and solidify ourselves in the SEC championship game with a win this weekend. And then, granted, I know it's Auburn, but regardless of what happens, we still go to the SEC championship game. Yeah. I think that plays a factor. I think it's a motive.
I still go back to what Saban is preaching to them. You have no room for error at this point. There's no guarantees.
Well, that's where I was going.
When we get to the ultimate goal, absolutely.
That's where I was going. If we win this game,
why are you yelling?
I don't know. I'm excited.
It did get a little louder.
I'm excited. If we win this game,
does this intimidate you? If it does, I'll get rid of it.
I hope there's a way to tone his mic down when you start cutting and editing into this.
What?
Intimidation is not. Yeah, thank you. Can you say that one more time?
Mr. Executive Producer over here.
So, with that being said, that's where I was going.
Yes.
Should we win this game, and I know we got to play it, should we win this game, are you concerned about going into the Auburn game? From a motivation perspective. We've seen the way we've let down. We've done it twice this year. We took Texas A&M for granted because they lost 2 games. Then we come in and we don't prepare well against LSU, and we sneak out of there with a win. Should we beat Arkansas, we clinch the West, guaranteed a spot in the SEC championship game against Georgia, how does that affect us?
Well, I can see where it could, and I can see where it might. But I hope, because it's Auburn, it's your rival, you can still get up for that game and it not be a distraction or an issue that, hey, you don't matter about the results of this one.
Any concern for you?
Like I said, ultimately,
based on what you've seen so far this year?
They still have the ultimate goal in front of them. So if you lose,
I think it's my turn. So enough. It's concern. There's concern every time
we step on the
field with this team. I'm not. Last year I wouldn't have said it, and I think we did say it. There's never a time where I felt like that team couldn't score. This team, every week I worry about which Alabama Crimson Tide team is going to show up. The one that wants to dominate and be the absolute best, or the one that thinks that they're first-round draft picks and they got an automatic bid. So, I got concerned.
I had a colleague, and I'll give him a shout-out. Keith Jones is a guy that I work with at the school. Yeah.
Never mind.
Big Alabama fan, follows it really well. has a lot of knowledge. He said the same exact thing. He goes, which Alabama team is going to show up? Which offense is going to show up? And I think that's probably spot on. To your point, if we're just looking to get in the SEC championship game, then it doesn't really matter. But if we're looking, and I can't really tell from this team. Saban said it about the identity. We need to do it now. We need to develop an offensive identity. I think we tried to start that against New Mexico State, but personally, in my opinion, New Mexico State, it didn't mean anything. So this week will give me a little bit better understanding of if we have an identity. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll break that down a little bit more because, again, what team is going to show up? So I don't know. On behalf of Bob English and State Farm, hold your seats, Tide fans. We'll be right back with Tide Talk.
In life, some things just go together, like a burger and fries, and home and auto insurance from State Farm. So make it a combo. Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Just call me, Bob English, or any of my experienced hometown team and find out how you could start saving today. It's just another way.
All right, welcome back, Tide fans. We were saying right there before the break.
Sean, it is my understanding that, and I don't want to mention it, that you said coat or tie this weekend, this week for the show.
I don't recall that. Do you recall that?
I got him in the...
Honestly, I did not recall that.
I came straight from work, so
Well, I came straight from a cocktail party, so obviously. But please go ahead. At 4 in the afternoon.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, 6.
Must be nice.
Yes.
Can't have money. I've always said it.
Well, I mean, it is the season. Pinky out. Let's go.
That's right. As we were saying right before the break, it'll be interesting to see which team shows up this weekend. And of course, should we win that game and clinch the SEC West, it'll be interesting to see if we carry that momentum into the Auburn game because of the implications, the national implications. Whether we win or lose against Auburn and or Arkansas, we have to win one of those to get to the SEC championship game, and there's some discussion about that. But I'd like to see, as we said, I'd like to see us finish out. Saban said we can't. There's no room for error. I'd like to see us finish out and then see how the SEC championship goes and then what happens. But I won't digress.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time for Stats with Jimmy.
Stats with Jimmy. When the glasses come out. All right, Tide fans. So
I can hold that for you if you need.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so obviously this past week was one of those kind of pad your stats kind of games, and we certainly did. So offensively, we're holding serve there. We actually increased our points per game by a little over a point. We're still first in the SEC. We moved up 1 to 3rd nationally at 44.46 per contest. Defensively. Well, let me just say this. Total offense, again, we're still 3rd in the conference and 10th overall at 484. And I mention that because we're 10th overall in the nation as far as overall offense. Defensively, 18.2 points per game, 3rd in the conference and 12th nationally. We're giving up a little over 83 yards a game on the ground, which is 4th nationally and 2nd in the league. So again, I think Arkansas is going to try to establish that. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
And then rushing defense is 83. Like I said, 2nd. Passing is 6 at 206 a game. So again, I think we're improving on that side of the ball. And we've been kind of talking about that defense.
We've gradually worked our way up.
We have, and I want to say last year at this time we were about at that 18, 17 points per game. First in the conference. I think we ended up being first in the conference. So all this talk about all year about our defense, we're kind of on pace to be where we were last year.
Wait a minute. So now you're supporting Pete Golding. I just want to be clear.
Kind of, sort of.
Wow. Let's go.
You heard it, Tide fans.
Yeah. So 3rd down conversions, again, getting off the field, we're 2nd in the conference at 31.65%. I will mention this because I always try to skip over it because it's always been a sore subject, but penalties. We're actually improving on the penalty side, believe it or not.
Couldn't have gotten any worse.
Slowly but surely, every week we're getting better and better statistically. We're not dead last in the league anymore. We're actually in 10th overall at 64.
That's enough to cheer
Yeah,
about.
at 64 yards a game. So hey,
That's
positive.
Let's order
something
a
to be
beverage.
happy about.
Let's order a beverage and celebrate.
So this is what I want to get to individually. So right now, we're 484 a game offensively, and we're giving up 290 per game defensively. We're the only team in the top 10 in each of those categories in the country.
Okay. I can live with
So
that.
imagine
Yeah.
that. Bryce Young surpassed the 3,000 yard mark over the
Right.
weekend. Has a chance, obviously, to finish, depending on how many more games we play, over 4,000 on that Heisman campaign. He's completing 70% of his passes. And we have a 1,000-yard receiver this year. Can somebody tell me who that is?
Got to be Jameson.
Got to be Jamison Wilson. We also have our tailback. He's leading the conference in touchdowns at 14.
Yeah.
So we've got one of the top
Receivers.
passers, top receivers, and top running backs again in the conference.
Quietly.
And then the last but certainly not least is our new Heisman candidate, per se, is our linebacker. He's up to 12 and a half sacks, 23 total sacks, 23
Tackles for
total
loss.
tackles for a loss. Now, can somebody tell me who the record holder is for those?
For all time?
Yes.
Reggie White?
No, in Alabama.
Got to be
Derek
Derek
Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah, so in 1988,
I was there. Go ahead.
me too, Derek Thomas had 27 sacks.
He's not going to break that record.
And
Is
he
anybody?
had 39 tackles for loss in 1988.
And that was back when everybody ran the ball.
Now, second place in the single season history is 18 sacks and 27 tackles for loss. So Will has definitely a chance to be in second, but there's nobody ever going to pass
Well, that's
our
what
man
you
Derek
said.
Thomas.
There's nobody ever going to break the NFL record that Derek Thomas has sacks in a game.
No.
Ever.
No, that's some people's season right there if they're lucky.
Anyway,
That's what we said before, though. When you're in the conversation with Derek Thomas, you're doing something right.
Yes.
And this kid, and I agree with you, Maurice. You're talking about back in 1988. People ran the football 40-something
Spurrier
times.
hadn't even gotten to Florida yet where they were throwing it all over
I
the
mean,
place. There's only one team, that was BYU, slinging it all over the place. So for him to have that many sacks, yeah.
Really impressive.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, watching Anderson, it's almost like when he wants to get to the quarterback, he's going to get to the quarterback. There were a couple of times this past
he
weekend.
kind of took the play off a little bit.
Well, there was just a couple of times where he got back there and he either got clipped by his own guy. He's about to tackle the quarterback and he gets clipped by his own guy, or one of our guys knocks a lineman into him and cuts it.
Right.
So when he wants to get to the quarterback, he can get to the quarterback, and it really don't matter what you do to try to block him. And so it's impressive to see him. But I will agree, as we said, Dallas Turner is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, the kid's a freshman, looks really, really good over there. And think about that. He was backing up. He was the third guy.
Drew Sanders.
He was backing up Christian Allen, who Drew Sanders backed up, and then Dallas Turner was backing him up.
But you see Drew Sanders
And Drew Sanders, so I think we got to figure out how to get those two guys on the field at the same time.
I agree with that.
I don't know how we're going to do that, because you're not going to take Anderson out.
No.
But, both of those guys, future's bright with them two.
Yeah, I really like what I see from the defensive side. Man, I was really impressed with Kool-Aid when he got his start.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with him. Really happy to see him play well. Didn't get a lot of opportunity as much this past weekend. He did play, but it was more or less in kind of the mop-up duty type
I don't know
thing.
if you noticed, but they kept the starting DBs out there longer.
Getting them some more work.
They need it.
Yep.
Getting them some more work. So predictions for Arkansas at our place, 3:30 kickoff, daytime game. Predictions, Jimmy.
So I'm going to be curious to see if we come out, again, because of the lack of depth at running back, how are we going to try to establish the run? I think not. I think we're going to let Bryce kind of do his thing, slinging around.
20-point favorite.
Man, that 20 points is a lot for me right now. I think we're going to win the game. I think if we cover that 20, it's going to be because of some late touchdown. I think it's going to be a little closer throughout the game, but ultimately we're going to end up winning pretty easily.
I'm ready to make my verdict on this. You
All right.
both presented average cases. So I'm going to say Bama in a close one. I think Arkansas is going to give us a good challenge, defense, especially for our offense versus their defense.
I'm going to go with 38-21.
Okay.
I think that it will be a challenge. I think our defense will have to bow their necks. I think we will. I think we win the football game. I think our offense will score enough points. I'm going to go with 38-21.
So none of us say that we cover.
20 points scares me.
So
Even at
that's a
home.
lot of points.
Even at home.
So if you're watching at home, that means go ahead and lay the points.
Exactly.
You should probably bet on Alabama minus the points if you're a betting person.
Yeah.
But we'll find out. We'll watch it this Saturday. I'm sure we'll be talking throughout the game, but we'll come back and do it again right here next week, Tide fans. Hopefully you'll join us on Channel 207, and we'll see you next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.